want to buy this car in the Street King, but I don't have any money.
Bruh.
Wait a minute, I know. I'll get an unlimited money mod. This one looks legit.
Hey everyone, my name is Raymond, and I'm a game developer and the creator of games like The Street King and Left Turn Legend. I've spent almost 10 years now working on The Street King, and the game has gone through a ton throughout that time. One thing I never even thought about when I first started with game development was how modders would impact my game. When I think of game mods, I usually think of cool, fan-made enhancements to the game that add new, fun features. And honestly, if someone had decided to mod my games in that way, I'd probably support them. They share a passion for the game with me, but reality is often disappointing. As it turns out, I have yet to see a single mod for the Street King that actually improves the gameplay or adds any new features. That part isn't all too surprising. The game isn't designed for modding anyways, and modding in mobile games seems less common anyhow. What I have found, however, is hundreds, potentially thousands of mods which all do the exact same thing: cheat at the game. If you go to Google and search for the Street King mod APK, you'll be greeted with page after page after page of mods. And each of these mods gives the player unlimited money, cars, so on, whatever you want. On one hand, I'm actually a bit flattered to see all these. It means that people find my game worth playing enough that they're going to put in the time and effort to actually decompile it and modify it. On the other, it's becoming frustrating having to deal with all of this, and it's wasting a lot of my time and effort that could be spent actually, making the game better. Now, you might be wondering, why do I even care about these mods? Some people still play my game legitimately, and I still get my revenue from those players, and at the end of the day, those modders are still playing my game. Should I just let them enjoy it? And that's the stance that I honestly want to take. But there's a few problems that these modders create that I simply can't ignore. The Street King features both single player and multiplayer. If players modded in single player, it would only affect themselves, and that kind of doesn't matter. But when they bring their mods into online multiplayer, that's when problems start. Unlimited modding mods give these players an unfair advantage in terms of the cars that they use. And legitimate players just get left behind. This is actually one of the main reasons I've never added a competitive multiplayer mode with some sort of leaderboard. I know that it would be unfairly biased towards modders who cheat their way into winning, instead of letting actual skill win out. At least in my current multiplayer implementation, where there isn't any leaderboard of any sort, there aren't serious consequences if someone cheats their way into a win. Another big issue is how this directly affects me. I'm a solo dev, and this game isn't my job. It's a fun side project that I do purely for enjoyment. It doesn't turn a profit. And yet, I still have to pay for multiplayer servers through the service I use based on player count. When legitimate players play, they at least still encounter ads in single player mode, so that even if they don't spend a dime on the game, I still make a tiny bit of revenue to help support the increase in online player count. When modded players play the game, they increase my online player count, but they don't give any revenue back, and so I still have to pay for their presence. Now, there's a completely different debate on the ethics of piracy and blah blah blah, but at the end of the day, most of the pro-piracy arguments I've seen are centered around the software being produced by a large, multi-billion-dollar company that doesn't care if they have a bit of a loss. But I'm a solo dev, and the effects on me are much more pronounced and noticeable, so it really actually does harm the game's development. The final problem I have with these unlimited money modders is just how annoying it is to deal with them. I used to spend hours trying to take down links to modded copies of the game. Every time I took down one link, 10 more would just pop up in its place. At this point, all I can really do is try to make the game good enough that people prefer to play the official copy. However, there's still times when they cause problems I can't ignore. For example, I have a special tag in the Street King for when I play online multiplayer. That's how players know that it's actually me and not just some random person. However, someone recently released a mod that lets anyone get that tag. Now, this doesn't really affect gameplay in any really meaningful way, but it did lead to a ton of people pinging me saying, "Oh, is this you actually playing online multiplayer?" And I was like, no, because of course I wasn't actually playing the game, it was just some random person. and I had to take time out of my normal game development routine in order to patch out these imposters. It's a constant cat and mouse game, where I patch something out, so modders react and circumvent my patch, and then I patch out their solution, and then they react and circumvent my solution, and the cycle just keeps going on and on and on. I can't ever win this cat and mouse game either, because I'm just one person, and there are potentially tens or hundreds or even thousands of modders out there. It just wastes so much of my time. I guess if there had to be a takeaway, it would be this. If you're a modder who is publishing unlimited money mods for my game, just stop it.
Stop it. Get some help.
It's obnoxious and makes it so that I'm slower in pushing out actually good content updates. And if you're a player, don't download these. If you enjoy my game, it's better to support me by playing the official version. And maybe more importantly, many of these mods are going to contain viruses, so even if you're completely selfish and don't care about supporting me, it's still in your best interest not to download these modded copies. It's also crazy to me just how bad the landscape of software has gotten with piracy. There's so many pirated copies of software these days, many of which are just repackaged viruses that are designed to trick you into getting them and making you think that they're a free download. These don't really have a good solution. I'm not sure what the best way of dealing with these is. Legal methods of taking these down are often very slow and they spring up so quickly, so there isn't really much you can do. With that all being said, thanks for listening to my rant/TED Talk. I'd like to give a huge thanks to my King patrons, GrandAM67 and TheLegoManiac10, for supporting me and my projects. If you'd also like to support me, please do check out my Patreon page in the video description. I'll see you all in the next video.